leaning by the doorway. One more life inside that bag. Them walls hum with old ventilation, vending machine down the hall. Your name sits on my tongue tonight, but I won't let it out at all. There's a lamp with a crooked shade, throwing stripes across the floor. Cheap print of some fire landscape I won't ever walk toward. I could call you from this mattress, hear you breathe and say my name, but men like me don't drag our shadows through a gentle warm frame. Dashboard in empty highway, white lines sliding underneath, coffee cooling in the holder, bitter edge on tired teeth. One hand steady on the steering, other resting near the brake, thinking about the last job finished and the noise I didn't make. I could turn this wheel back easy, take an exit, find your door, watch you open up the hallway, feel your hands like once before. But there's boys who bring the trouble, where their lover lays ahead, and the men who truly love her keep their footprints far instead. You keep asking why I vanish when the night feels soft and safe. I keep thinking about the promises I refuse to make you pay. I don't run, I just don't stay. There's a price for walking this way. I keep driving past the exits with your letter in my coat. I hold every weight I carry so your heart won't bear that load. I don't run, I just don't stay. That's how a man like me walks away. Still cold beneath my hand, map unfolded by the sugar, all these roads I never planned. Waitress asked me where I'm headed, I just nod and lift my cup. Somewhere quiet, somewhere nameless, where my past won't surface up. There's a slip inside my wallet with your number folded thin, like a ticket to a future I stay just outside of looking in. I can see you in that kitchen morning light across your face. I can see the kind of heaven I won't drag down to this place. You deserve a man who's steady, not a ghost along the wire, not a shadow in a doorway, always checking for a fire. So I keep my circle narrow, keep my story off your street. That's the only kind of mercy men like me know how to keep. I don't run, I just don't stay. That's the toll for walking this way. I keep driving past the exits with your letter in my coat. I hold every weight I carry so your heart won't bear that load. I don't roll, I just don't stay. That's how a man like me fades away.
Down on the road at night, pulling me out of this town. Motel key on the passenger seat, plastic tag turned upside down. There's a suitcase sliding on the backseat, leather humming with every turn, and your face in the curve of the rearview mirror, getting smaller with every mile I burn. You were barefoot in that narrow kitchen, steam on the window, quiet stove light, asking where I disappear to, why I always come back wired from the night. I kissed your wrist instead of answering, traced the veins like back roads on a map. Said you don't wanna know those places, love, and let the heavy silence fill the gap. 'Cause bands like me don't grow old in little houses. We just fade out of the doorway and live on in whisper stories, secondhand around the couches. I'm an exit wound on the highway, tearing clean through the edge of your life. Just a fast car cutting out of your story, leaving tire marks where I should have said goodbye. I'm the shadow on the shoulder of the interstate, straight line through the dark I chose. If I stayed, this whole world would bleed you. So I let the distance take the blow. Under some buzzing letters, lonely station with a humming machine, coffee in a cracked white paper cup, sugar packets torn and scattered between. I watch the pump tick slow like a clock on empty, taillights drifting past in pairs. Wipe my hands on this worn-out jacket, see your eyes in the glass like they're still right there. If you wake and find my side cold, no note on the pillow, no name on your phone, you'll know I took the road that never circles, the one that keeps a man alone. Don't you chase the hum of engines, don't you wait for boots outside your door. Every mile I put between us, love, is one less mile you suffer what I'm headed for. I'm just an exit wound on the highway, cutting clean through the night that we knew. Just a quiet car slipping past the billboards, trading your warm hands for this endless view. I'm the ghost in every narrow little diner, the stranger that still thinks of you below. If I turn this wheel around, it will break you. So I let the blacktop take the blow. These streets alone at shadows creeping out of sight. The city arms, but it feels so cold. I made my bed, but I'm getting old. I've been running this game for too long, but the silence tells me something's wrong. My steps are heavy, but my mind's a blur. Is the past behind me, you're coming for sure? I've been in the shadows for too long, but the weight of the world feels too strong. I've played the game, but I can't pretend the life I've built might be my end. The shadows are closing in on me. I've been living in them, but I can't be free. I made my choices, now I face the cost. In these shadows, I'm already lost. The shadows are closing in on me. I've been living in them, but I can't be free. I made my choices, now I face the cost. In these shadows, I'm already lost. Chances roll the dice, but every step feels like another prize. The streets are cold, but I'm colder still. I've been chasing this life, but I'm standing still. I thought I was sharp, thought I could run, but now I know
The shadows are closing in on me. I've been living in them, but I can't be free. I made my choices, now I face the cost. In these shadows, I'm already lost. The shadows are closing in on me. I've been living in them, but I can't be free. I made my choices, now I face the cost. In these shadows, I'm already lost. City halls, I hear the call, but the deeper I go, the harder I fall. Is it too late to turn and run? Or have I already lost what I want? Paper ticket in my pocket, folded with a steady thumb. Metal door between these carriages rattles like a distant drum. Overhead a tight suitcase, busted handle wrapped in tape. Fluorescent in this narrow hallway paints my shadow out of shape. I can feel this carriage leaning every time we cross a bend. You'd have laughed about the number on the seat they made me rent. Car 13, last in line, where they hide the ones who go. I'm just another quiet exit no one's meant to ever know. You and me, we built a living off the lines no one would cross. Stacked our nights on silent favors, turned their losses into gloss. You were always at the forefront, taking bows in tailored black. I was ink along the margin, adding weight you never tracked. All those envelopes and meetings in the back of shuttered rooms, all those numbers in that notebook, all those carefully sealed moves. Now that ledger feels like shackles, every figure tied to bone. So I'm riding past the outskirts, letting steel unwrite our tone. You still think the only power is to stand there and be seen, but the strongest move you make is when you vanish from the scene. This is the last train off the ledger, where I pay back what we owe. Leave our story with the distance, let these iron tracks take the load. I glass holds up my face, lined with every task we ran, every hallway, every handshake, every time I played your hand. There's a phone that stopped its buzzing when I stepped onto this rail. There's a message on my tongue I never sent and never mailed. If you read these crooked figures in the corners of your mind, know I left before the totals found a way to have me sign. You say I broke the circle, that I turned my back on code, but a man who knows the endings steps aside before they close. I'd rather be a whisper riding out across these fields than a name inside a column no one ever really heals. This is the last train off the ledger, where I pay back what we owe. I leave our story in the siding, let the cold rails take the load. I was the hush behind your legend, now I'm walking on my own, on the last train off the ledger. Even legends ride alone. Even legends ride alone.
There's a buzzing little bedside lamp, paint peeling off the wall, vending machine hum. Vending machine hum in the hallway, TV blue with no sound at all. Your picture on the dresser, folded corner on the frame. I've been tracing every line of you like I'm learning my own name. Outside there's a lonely gas pump throwing light at us. Truck tire rolling down the highway, chasing something I know. I got mold air in my lungs and road dust on my skin, and this pen above the paper where I never know where to begin. I've ridden shotgun with some quiet wisdom, don't know how to age. Sat down a booth with bosses, drawing lines across a page. Kept my jacket on the hook, kept my hands where I could see. Never let a shaking heartbeat make a bigger mess of me. Every favor had a number, every night sealed envelope, every mile a little bargain with the dark side of my hope. You keep saying I could change it, trade the road for something warm, but I've seen what happens, darling, when a man forgets the storm. You think being strong is stay until the fire hits the door, holding on until the ceiling falls and you can't stand no more. But the only thing I've learned from all these rooms I've had to leave is a real man knows the moment when it's time to cut and breathe. So I leave a letter on the nightstand where your hand will reach the dawn. Every word a quiet warning that you're safer if I'm gone. I'm the calm behind the wheel when the road begins to bend. Not the kind of man you tame, just the one who won't pretend. If you ever doubt my feeling when the highway takes me again, read the letter on the nightstand that I never meant to send. There's a motel key on the table, heavy tag, chip, golden paint, suitcase leaning by the doorway like a tired, patient saint. Boots lined up beside the bed, laces loose but pointed out. Fuel station sign keeps flickering like it's learning how to doubt. I can hear the ice machine coughing somewhere down the quiet hall. Someone laughs behind the door, then it fades to nothing at all. I put your name above the first line, then I cross it out in ink, 'cause to keep you out of what I am is the kindest way to think. I've worn them, stayed past their ending till the walls came closing in. Dragged the ones they swore to shelter through the rust and through their sin. I don't need another witness to the ghosts that ride with me. All I want is you remembering I left you standing free. So I leave a letter on the nightstand where your hand will reach at dawn. Every promise in it whispering that you're better if I'm gone. I'm the taillights in the distance when the night begins to thin. I'm the man who keeps his coat and never pulls you where I've been. If you ever feel abandoned when the darkness comes again, read the letter on the nightstand from the man who walked away so you could live outside his window.
This letter's on my knees, ink shaking with the tracks. Sleeper cabin breathing slow, while the darkness folds its cracks. There's a ticket in my pocket, creasing, sweating through my coat. Suitcase under iron sea, holding everything I want. Your name is at the top line, then a pause I never feel. Every time I try to write you, all I taste is what we kill. There's a lamp above this table, swinging soft with every turn, and a river under steel that watched 1,000 bridges burn. You told me in that roadside room, key turning in your hand. Pick the life that keeps you breathing, or the one that makes you stand. I smirked like it was nothing, like the choice was just a game. But every deal and every favor kept on spelling out my name. Now the corridor lights flicker, and the doors all breathe in time. There's a chessboard in my memory, every move a crooked line. I've been paid in folded envelopes, and invoices that don't sleep. Every hallway I've been walking has grown narrow, low and deep. You said if you ever leave, don't let it look like you were thrown. So I packed before the shouting, left the glass and left the phone. I don't run from this life, I choose which bridges burn. I decide what falls behind me when these wheels begin to turn. I'm a shadow in the window, just a name you never learn. I don't run from this life, I choose which bridges burn. There's a vending machine humming by the far end of the car. Cold light on a metal panel, humming like a distant bar. I can see a small town platform slide away in muted gold, faces blurred behind the glass, stories I will never hold. In my pocket there's that motel bill, folded with a no receipt. You were sleeping on the pillow, boots still tangled at your feet. I remember how you whispered, don't you die inside this turn. Now I'm watching all its edges as this train rolls out and burns. I keep my word like a weapon, I lock my doubts in a drawer. I don't beg for any mercy, I
I just stepped through one more door. If a man can't leave in silence, with his back straight and his nerve, he was never really driving. He just rode what he deserved. I don't run from this life, I choose which bridges burn. Every mile that fades behind me is a page you'll never turn. If you wake and feel me missing, when the night begins to churn, no, I didn't run from you, I chose which bridge to burn.
Bar doors long and smoky, suggesting a back room more than a big hall. Mail to mid-register, slightly raspy and intimate, singing behind the beat with spacious grooves.
Bar doors, bar door sighs when it closes, hallway like and do. The warms my blood washer, there's a stool I always tread. Back table with a green felt peeling, chair that fits my crooked spine. Ledger open like a quiet witness, numbers marching down the line. Bartender wipes down the counter, sets a coaster by my hand. Pours me something pale and bitter, says you look like you got plans. I don't talk about my evenings, I just signal, nod and move. But tonight the air feels heavy, like it wants me to speak truth. Used to be a kid beside me, called him brother in my head. He would grin straight into trouble, say relax, we're hard to shred. I would sit here with the bosses, draw the lines and write the schemes. He would drive through dead-end alleys, chase the ghosts that filled my dreams. Came a night the books turned crooked, something soured in the sun. So I handed him a folder, said go ask where this came from. He just laughed and took the briefcase, didn't see my slowing breath. Back room door swung soft behind him, I had sent him toward that test.
On the page it looked like entries, just a column, just a name, just a question in a ledger, just a missing piece of game. But the floorboards keep a memory when your footsteps don't return, and the quiet man in corners feels a lesson that they learn. I'm the quiet man in the back room. I don't raise my voice, but still the whole room starts to move. Every glass, every doorway, every shadow knows my tune, and the power in my fingers leaves a mark I can't remove. Yeah, the quiet man in the back room counts the ones he could improve. There's a chessboard by the bar safe, pieces frozen mid-attack. Black knight hanging over white king, waiting for my guiding tap. Every time they turn and watch me, eyes ask left or right tonight. I just nod and scratch a number, but I see his face in light. There's a jacket on the coat, no one's taking year on year. There's a booth we never serviced, there's a stain we call the mirror. They still slide me folded questions, edge of paper dark with sweat. I still answer like a habit, but I don't forgive the debt. Bartender leans in closer, says you could walk out that door. I just tap the open ledger, say my name lives on this floor. You can polish up your conscience, you can shine your cufflink brass, but if you're counting other men, you still touch the broken glass. I'm the quiet man in the back room. I don't raise my voice, but still the whole room starts to move. Every nod, every silence, every pause becomes a cue. And the men who act for money think their choice is all anew. But the quiet man in the back room knows who pushed them into view. I'm the quiet man in the back room, with a ledger full of stories that no courtroom ever knew. If you think that I sit spotless cause my shirt is pressed and smooth, know the calm behind these eyes is just the cost of every move. Yeah, the quiet man in the back room keeps the weight no one can prove. Motel ambers and overlines I'll never send. Them blue blanket heavy, no one here pretend. Motel key on the nightstand with a plastic number tag. My face in the blank TV, just a shadow in a drag. Vending machine humming down the hallway, map on the passenger seat. Reply to list of 7. Along my sleeve and ask what I'd done. I'd smile and say it's nothing, let the silence hold the gun. I was always in the corner, never center of the frame, moving quiet in the doorway while they told sound, just a tail light on the shoulder where the bad deals don't come round. I won't knock upon your doorway, won't go begging in your yard. I'm not running, I'm just leaving like a gentleman in the dark. Diner sign is flickering on an almost empty lot. Coffee cooling in a paper cup I ordered just to stop. Gas pump ticking in the distance, trucks roll slowly through the lane. Map folded on the passenger seat like a quiet little stain. I lay this letter by the phone, then slide it in my coat. Maybe I'll burn it past the border, let the smoke erase the note. Boot soles on the gravel, engine turning over slow. Every mile I put behind me is a mile you'll never know. Some men light the whole world up just to prove they're not afraid. Die loud under neon, let their names cut through the shade. Me, I'd rather ghost a picture, leave a clean and empty frame. Let them curse a missing shadow, never learn the whole old game. I'm a gentleman in the rear view, fading out without a sound. Just a tail light on the shoulder where the bad deals don't come round. I won't stand outside your window, won't turn heartbreak into art. I'm not running, I'm just leaving like a gentleman in the dark. I'm a gentleman in the rear view, lane lines running cold and hard. You'll be safe and you'll be sleeping while I vanish from your heart.
Green lamp burning over columns, figures marching down the page. Safe door humming in the corner like a low mechanical rage. Nights stacked up against the windows, city lights along the glass. You're a name inside these totals, thinking none of the past. Calculator on the desktop, every click a quiet drum. Silver pen between my fingers, tapping while the answers come. On the shelf a wooden chessboard,
kings and pawns in frozen lines. And I see the way you move now in these narrow, crooked signs. You remember when we started sharing coats and winter wind? One briefcase between us, one small room to sleep in. I spoke softly to the figures, you spoke loudly in the street. You shook hands in smoky doorways, I kept everything discreet. Now the cash flows tilt and tremble, little gaps along the way, thin streams leaving quietly where they never used to stray. Every ghosted notation, every service scribbled free, draws your shadow in the margin, like you're hoping it won't reach me. In this life, men don't shout when they decide to cut you loose from view. They just close the door in silence and adjust one number under you. It's numbers and knives in this gentleman's game. I keep the balance that decides who walks away with a name. I don't raise my voice, I don't flash my steel. I move one line and let the outcome seal. It's numbers and knives under soft green light. I guard the empire while you gamble with the night. You think you're hiding in the noise and lies, but I see everything in numbers and knives. There's a folder with your story in the top right-hand drawer. First job, first split, first warning, every favor, every score. I could circle 3 small items, make one quiet call at dawn, and by evening you'll be silenced that the hallway swallows on. But we bled the same cold sidewalks when our shoes had broken soles. Shared the last clean shirt between us, split the hunger and the rolls. So I'm giving you this warning in the stillness of this room. Step back from what you're taking, or you're walking to your doom. Out beyond these tinted windows, men are shouting over deals. Up here, fate is ink and paper, click of keys and turning wheels. You can live another decade if you learn this simple code. Never cross the man who draws the map that lines your road. It's numbers and knives in this gentleman's game. I keep the balance that decides who walks away with a name. I don't flash my rage, I don't flash my steel. I shift one line and let your future peel. It's numbers and knives under soft green light. I hold the center while you think you own the night. You can change your steps and keep your life, or stay a shadow in my numbers and knives.
sweet coffee and a tired trail. You were curled up on that narrow sofa, lamplight resting on an open page, asking why my phone stayed turning face down, why my eyes look 10 years past my age. I kissed your hair instead of answering, said some things keep the lights turned on. Truth is, every room I kept us safe and sat on deals that should have long been gone. I could stay and let this city write your name in lines that cause from rust, or let this engine pull me from your doorway, take the weight you'd put in us. Ooh,
cup cooling by the sugar in a crooked pie. Map folded twice by my elbow on the chrome, with 4 teeth on the ring, numbers in the dog highway. You sit across from jacket 2 sizes loud, talking like you're ready to walk through any crowd, but your boots still squeak when you shift your weight, and your eyes chase every story like they're wide open gates. Out on that highway, men burn out like sand, bright for a season, then they're gone past the line. You think it's all noise and hands in the air, but the ones still driving learn to move like they're not there. I watch kings of the evening fade in daylight dust. Saw a man sell out his brother when the numbers lost their trust. I've carried quiet envelopes I've left before the dawn. I've walked out of small rooms where the loudest ones were gone. You say you want a life where doors open when you walk, where your shadow hits the wall before anyone talks. But power on this road has a cost you can't ignore. You can't buy back a name once it's carved into a door. This is the midnight down the coast. Keep your voice low, keep your circle close. Pay your debts cleanly before it explodes. Don't let your face grow bigger than your load. If you wanna walk like a man on this road, let your work speak, let your footprints stay cold. You don't chase heat, you don't beg to be shown. You live by the midnight down the coast. Hear that vending machine humming by the bathroom wall. See that old truck driver staring straight through it all. He's watched sharp suits swagger in and talk real fast. Now their names ride empty where the tankers roll past. There's a scuffed leather duffel leaning by my side. Everything I own that I still wanna keep alive. When this coffee hits the bottom and I slide from this booth, you won't hear another word, but you'll remember the truth. There was one kid before you, thought louder meant strong, kept his back to the window, kept his nights too long, took a shine from the wrong eyes, took a seat near the glass. He was all over the stories, but the stories didn't last. They were topping off his cup when the silence finally fell. Now he's just a lesson every mile post tells. I still see his grin in the neon when I slow. That's the price of not listening when the old hands talk low. This is the midnight down the coast. Keep your hands steady when you count what you owe. Never trade your calm for a borrowed show. Walk away early when the sparks start to glow. If you wanna move like a legend on this road, keep your name light, let your choices hold the load. You don't chase heat, you don't die to be known. You leave when you must by the midnight down the coast. Leave you on with no sounds, blue light across my eyes. Motel key on the Bible, letter folded by my hand. I've been writing you all evening with words you'll never scan. Truck brakes on the highway, sighing through the paper wall. Eyes machine down the hallway, coughing every time it stalls. My boots by the door still carry someone else's town. Engine humming in my chest, but this body won't sit down. You fell for the quiet side, not the noise behind my trade. Thought these hands were built for holding, not the deals that had to fade. Every favor that I carried wore a number on its back. Every smile that I collected had a ledger in the black. When the heat climbed up my collar, they started circling my lane. So I packed away our mornings, left you outside of the flame. Told you you'd be safer if you never knew the route I took. Now your shadow rides beside me every time I steal a look. There's a part of me that's driving and a part that never moves. One keeps the car between the lines, one pays the hidden dues. I'm a last exit gentleman, headlights low and clean. Leave before the trouble flowers, never stay to see the scene. I don't raise my voice, I just raise my leaving hand. Walk out while the fire's small and let it find another man. Yeah, I move in quiet circles where the long road starts to bend. I don't wait to beg forgiveness, I just vanish like a friend. Fold his letter back in third, slide it in my jacket seam. Kill the screen and let the silence fill the corners of this room. Neon from the diner flickers on the hood outside my door. Gas pump ticking under starlights, insects buzzing at the floor. I check the mirrors on the windshield like I'm checking who I am. Just a man who keeps on moving by the rules of his own hand. But the truth sleeps in the glove box with your picture been torn. You can walk out of a doorway, but not out of what you've sworn. If you hear an engine idling low out past your gate, if the night leans in and whispers like it's keeping you awake, that's the part of me that stayed there, pacing circles in your room, while the rest keeps chasing borders underneath the hanging moon. I'm a last exit gentleman, headlights low and clean. Leave before the questions corner, never wait to watch you lean. I don't draw a gun, I just draw a line and go. Let the steadier men stay and fix it, I slip back into the road. Yeah, I walk like I'm in control, with my hand upon the wheel. But the miles ride out the verdict on the man I never healed.
driver's seat, facing backwards in the last car. This whole town slipping out of frame. Ticket folded in my fingers with a one-way printed name. Overhead light hums and flickers, broken halo on my shoes. Duffel tucked under the bench seat, just the things I had to choose. Oh, conductor punched the paper, barely glanced and moved on by. Men who stare through moving windows all got that same careful eye. Station lights fall off behind us, tracks are shaking through the floor. If I don't leave on my own terms, I'll get carried through that door. You were drifting on the sofa when I slid my keys down by the sink. Left a short line by the kettle, saying less than I could think. All the nights I came home late with some story from the streets, while my cup still held the echo of the hands I had to meet. I made quiet trades and stairwells, locked up doors and closed my eyes. Kept a press code in the wardrobe, kept the dirt where no one pries. You believe the man who held you was the man I used to be, but the work that paid our rent kept pulling darker over me. If I stay, that house will crumble from the things I have to do. Every favor, every secret has a way of touching you. So I took the one decision they can't pry out of my hand. Turn my back on what I built, let it fall without a plan. I'm gone before the morning, long before they speak my name. I'm the man who leaves the table while there's money in the game. I don't wait for doors to open, I don't beg for them to close. Yeah, I'm gone before the morning, that's the only way this goes. 'Cause a man like me don't get to stay wherever his shadow grows. Silhouettes of quiet houses slide past in a jagged line. Every crossing throws a shudder through this long, still crooked spine. I can see your face reflected in the dark glass over mine. Two faint shapes laid on each other, one that's leaving, one in time. There's a narrow strip of carpet running past each rattling door. Vending machine hums and pulses near the end of this old car. I walk down to stretch my backbone, feel the rhythm in my knees. Every step says keep on moving if you ever wanna breathe. If I stayed, they'd come a knocking with a smile and folded list. Ask for one more quiet errand, twist my future in their fists. You'd be pouring coffee in the kitchen while they drain my hours dry, till the weight behind my eyes turn a stranger in your eyes. So I'm choosing how I vanish with this ticket and this bag. No parade, no final showdown, just my handwriting on a tag. If you ever find that letter, know I left to keep you clear of the man this life was shaping me, of the knock that's drawing near. I'm gone before the morning, while the sky is still cold black. I'm the shadow that steps forward and decides not to come back. I don't wait for verdicts written by the hands I used to feed. Yeah, I'm gone before the morning, that's the last clean thing I lead. You can say I disappeared, say I folded with the cards, say I walked out like a coward when the road turned thin and hard. But I'm gone before the morning, and that's how it had to be.
choose what party leads. Walk through the alley, my shoes on the wet ground. The city's alive, but it's closing me down. I've never been one to make noise or make waves. I keep my hands clean, but I'm stuck in the haze. I'm the one they call when the job's already done. The shadows are deep, but they never hide the sun. They don't know my name, don't know where I stand. I keep moving in silence, but they still demand. I thought I could keep it all buried deep, but now the silence is too much to keep. The weight's getting heavy, the wall's closing in. I'm still running, but I can't outrun where I've been. Silent hands, I keep them clean, but the ghosts of the past are all that I see. I move in shadows, but the light's closing in. Silent hands can't hold back the sin. I've seen it all, been the one they call to clean up the mess when the night starts to fall. But it's harder now, harder to stay low. The city's a trap, and I can feel it grow. They watch from the corners, they wait for the slip. I've been living in silence, but I can't feel the grip. The past is a shadow, it won't let me go. And every step I take, it's a little more slow. I thought I could keep it all buried deep, but now the silence is too much to keep. The weight's getting heavy, the wall's closing in. I'm still running, but I can't outrun where I've been. Silent hands, I keep them clean, but the ghosts of the past are all that I see. I move in shadows, but the light's closing in. Silent hands can't hold back the sin. I hear the footsteps, feel the cold wind. I thought I was hidden, but it's closing in. The city's a cage and I can't break free. I've made my bed, but I can't sleep. Silent hands, I keep them clean, but the ghosts of the past are all that I see. I move in shadows, but the light's closing in. Silent hands can't hold back the sin. Blinds half closed on the window, city lights cut through in straps, desk lamp burning like a spotlight light on these columns and these types. You're standing by the leather chair, hands buried in your coat. I tap a silver fountain pen against the corner of this note. You remember when we started with a cash box and a key? You would talk and I stayed quiet, let the numbers talk for me. You were fire out in back rooms, I was calm behind the door. You would shake on crooked handshakes, I would write down every score. Now this table's getting crowded with the things you won't recall, but every favor, every promise has a line here, one and all. I'm the man who keeps a score, every debt and every sin, every quiet little shortcut that you thought would vanish in. I'm the gentleman in silence, with your future in my drawer. You can smile and touch my shoulder, but I know what you're here for. Yeah, I'm the man who keeps the score when this city asks for proof, and these pages won't forget you when the bullets want the truth. There's a chessboard by the window, king laid sideways on its side. Safe door breathing in the corner, steel and velvet locked inside. Briefcase waiting by the bookcase, one more folder, one more name. You keep saying we're like brothers, but your bets are not the same. I still see us in that hallway, counting small bills on the floor. You were laughing at tomorrow, I was guarding every door. Thought we'd build a quiet kingdom where the cracks would never show. Now I'm circling your last mistake, and you're asking not to know. I'm the man who keeps a score, every ledger line and name. Every time you cross the limit, while you ordered one more drink. I'm the whisper in the staircase when the heavy steps come up. I'm the calm hand on your shoulder when they come to call your bluff. Yeah, I'm the man who keeps the score, and tonight you're on the line. You can walk back down that hallway, but you're walking over mine. When this city starts collecting what it's owed behind this door, you'll remember who was waiting as the man who keeps the score.
Buzzing light above in the mirror, paint curling at the frame. Ice machine outside is groaning like it's tired of every name. Room 16, key on the nightstand, plastic tag and metal ring. Folded map beside my wallet, one more line I have to sing. Cheap motel pen on the table, dear you written in a pause. Old TV without the sound on, blue light flicker on my floors. I could mail this headed right on back road there. But the ink would drag my shadows to the life I left you there. You remember all those evenings? Room 16 writes an unsent letter to the woman he leaves behind, choosing to disappear so she can live clean. I kept saying, one more contract, one more night, then I'll be done. Watch your coffee getting colder while I lied about the sun. Now this freeway hum outside me sounds like steel that's breaking free. And I'm staring at this letter like a verdict signed by me. You deserved a steady Sunday, not a siren in your chest. Every time the night got louder, wondering if I'd failed that test. So I'm packing up at midnight, leaving nothing stuck to you. Room 16, last exit out of everything I put you through. I'm the shadow on the highway that the daylight doesn't see. And this room's a narrow border between the life and who you'll be. When the sun hits that old diner and they pour the first black shot, you'll just feel a little lighter, never knowing what I fall. Like she's breathing on this mistress with my sins don't know my plates, where the mile marks don't keep count of every line an outlaw breaks. So I'm checking out at daybreak with no claim left over you. Room 16, last exit out of everything I drag you through. I'll be fading in the rear view of a life you'll never see. Just a quiet line of taillights, but I know you're running free. If you wake and feel the silence where the trouble used to be, that's the echo of this promise from room 16, last exit out of me. Escape over dragging his lover into the life. Nocturnal, dangerous, but classy for men who move in silence. On the days and egging into the light. At night, gentle, dangerous, but classy for men who move in silence.
every hallway keeps a city just for you. And I kept saying I'd step over this once, so next where it is clean. But the road kept stealing markers and the house stayed empty. Now I'm living out in motels, trading miles for little cash. Every promise that I made you fold is somewhere in the dash, yeah. There's a point before the sunrise where a man redraws his lines. Stay and let the shadows reach you, or step out and cut the ties. I'm the last exit before dawn on this long and winding road, where you choose between the warmth you want and the weight you can unload. I'm the turn you never take when you're afraid to count the cost. I'm the quiet sign that's glowing when you're halfway to the lost. I could pull this engine back and fall straight into your arms, but men like me leap before the light shows all the damage and the scars. There's an envelope of money in the drawer by your old chair. Every dollar that I owe you for the nights I wasn't there. If this letter ever finds you, know I signed it with my coat. Never drag the ones you love down in the undertow you rode. I will drive beyond your skyline, keep my shadow off your street. Let the rumors turn to silence, let you call it cold retreat. But you'll sleep without the engines, without strangers at your door. You'll wake up and taste a quiet I could never give before. These motels all feel the same when you've outrun where you belong. Same buzzing soda machine in the hallway humming songs. Same parking lot of tales disappearing one by one. Same outlaw in the mirror trying not to come undone. I'm the last exit before dawn on this long unwinding road, where you trade a burning story for a life that won't explode. I'm the turn you never take when you're afraid to count the cost. I'm the quiet sign still glowing when you're halfway to the lost. So I'll keep my hands on wheel, keep my distance from your light. Let me be the road you almost took, then left behind the night. I'm the last exit for dawn, fading out of all your sight. I'm the last exit for dawn, fading out of all your sight. just me and this lamp at the far end of the wood. City lights in the glass where your reflection stood. Ledger open like a wound under my left hand. Fountain loaded with more ink than you understand. Cameras turned to the wall, red dots all asleep. Phone face down by the files that we promised to keep. You're leaning on the doorway, thinking noise is control, but the quiet end of the table is where sign off is survive. Slide from black into gray. Watched a man keep breathing 'cause I wrote his dead away. Move numbers like chess pieces no one else can see. Shifted one small digit and set somebody free. I watched partners grow louder till their echo got thin. Heard them slam on the desk just to feel like they win. I've closed blinds on bosses when their hands wouldn't stop, while my voice stayed level and their pulse tried to pop. You think the power's in the shouting and the glare, in the hands on a collar and the weight of a stare. But bills don't flinch and contracts never bleed. They just wait in silence for a pen and a need. Yeah. I sit at the quiet end of the table, where the ink runs colder than the steel. If you keep your word, I can keep you stable. Balance out the damage that you deal. But if you cross the line I drew to save you, or talk too loud about the things we do, the quiet end of the table won't debate you. I'll just balance out the numbers without you. There's a safe in the wall with a folder in red, paper thin as a whisper, heavy as lead. Your name's on a line with a space at the side, where I check one box and the doors open wide. You laugh, call me numbers like it keeps you amused, like the suits and the tie leave my edges unused. But I've stacked men like coins in a tray only I see, and I change out a brother once for less than you believe in me. The first time I signed off on a life gone dark, I stared at my handwriting till it left a mark. Went home, sat still in a silent room, felt every stroke like another small tune. Then I learned to breathe where the ink runs thin, kept my jacket straight, kept the tremor in. Now my coffee stays steady while the floorboards shake. I cut whole futures with a flick only I can make. I sit at the quiet end of the table, where the ink runs colder than the steel. If you keep your word, I can keep you stable. Dress your sins in something that feels real. But if you cross the line I wrote to save you, or drag this room out into the view, the quiet end of the table doesn't crave you, it just balances
distance is the numbers without you. I sit at the quiet end of the table. Lights go off and I'm the last one.
Spend my years in shadow, pulling strings you'll never see. Kept my hands clean, kept my mouth shut, never let the world hear me. Now I sit in this room, suitcase packed, no way back, no way to stay. I've seen the cost of loyalty, I've seen the price you'll pay. But there's no future here for men like me, no place to hide and fight. So I'm closing up my story, walking out into the night. Relax for this life, boy, but here you stand, standing tall. I see that hunger in your eyes, I hear the echoes in your call. I wanted more for you, to have a life untouched by sin. But the city keeps its secrets, and it never lets you win. So I'll leave this note behind, a warning, a reminder to be wise. The game don't care for loyalty, it'll cut you down inside. I've seen men rise, seen them fall, watch the world turn cold. I've learned to move in silence, never give away what's sold. The price of the life, boy, it ain't just in the deals you make, it's in the trust that gets broken, in the hearts you have to break. There's no way to leave clean, there's no way to walk away, but you'll learn sooner or later that silence is a price you'll pay. I've been where you're going, seen the lies and all the games. Don't chase the power, don't chase the fame. It's all a crooked road paved with regret and pain. I'm packing up my sins tonight, I'm leaving it all behind. I hope you find the peace
peace I never could somewhere out there in time. You don't know the way the chains that bind the soul. But maybe, just maybe, you'll learn to take control. The price of the life, boy, it ain't just in the deals you make. It's in the trust that gets broken and the hearts you have to break. There's no way to leave clean, there's no way to walk away, but you learn sooner or later that silence is the price you'll pay.
There's a glass on this big dish, ring of water on the wood, ledger open in the lamplight, ink still drying where it stood. Blinds are cutting up the city into narrow stripes of gold from this high-back leather island. I've been watching boys grow old. There's a chessboard by the window, one night turned on its side. Calculator by my right hand, little red light like an eye. Saved her humming in the corner, locked in heavier than sin. Every name that thinks it's winning finds its totals headwind. Jacket hanging loose, talking loud about the corners, about the doors you had to use. You keep saying you want thunder, want the streets to know your face, but the louder that you echo, boy, the clearer is your trace. I don't pull a single trigger, I don't shout above a crowd. I just balance what you're doing, turn your noise to quiet cloud. Every bill you call a favor, every secret, every scar becomes numbers in my columns, little ghost behind this bar. You think power's in the doorway, where the shouting never ends, but the cost is in the figures only quiet hands can bend. I'm the man with the legend in the chair behind the glass, turning whispers into numbers, letting empires rise and pass. If you want to feel like thunder, learn to move beneath the crown. But the man with the ledger never lays his burden down. One night by the warehouses, when the sums came out uneven, one name hanging like a question over water, dark and breathing. On page I drew a circle around the piece that wouldn't fit. Closed the cover, took a long breath, let the city answer it. Next day there was an empty chair, coat still on the metal rack. No one asked me where he vanished, they just learned to watch their backs. You can call it just accounting, keeping balance, staying clean, but the faces never leave you when you kill the office screen. Now you're standing in my doorway with that hunger in your grin, thinking I can make you bigger if I write your numbers in. Undisturbed before you climb here, before you chase that cedar stone. Every favor earns its interest, every rise stands on a bone. I'm the man with the ledger, in the chair behind the glass, turning promises to figures, letting legends fade and pass. If you want to walk like thunder, learn to move beneath the sound. But the man with the ledger never sets his burden down. I'm the man with the ledger, while this city stares below. For a gentleman who moves in silence, there's a price he never shows.